So the Salomon Huck Knife is a mid-flexing, twin-shaped park board that was new for this 2017 season. It has what Salomon call Quad Camber, which means there's a couple of different camber sections, and then right at the end of the contact points there's a small rocker bit, which helps keep it a bit looser. I'm riding the 155cm version. Ride it with a centered stance, which has a width of 22 inches, with plus 12 degrees on the front and minus 9 on the back. I am 6 foot tall, weigh about 150 pounds or 70 kilos, which is right in the middle of the weight range that Salomon recommend for the 155. I got to demo it last year and I really liked it enough that I ended up buying it when it was on sale this year. In general, I like mid-flexing twin park boards which have a bit of camber, so before I'd even ridden it, it sounded like something that I would like. It's got a sintered base, which is pretty good for a board that's at this price range, which I think is about $430 or $480 in Canadian. This day was pretty firm. The snow, it looks like it's got a softish layer on top, but it was pretty hard. It made it sort of harder work to make sure the edges kept in, but at least with, a board like this, which is mostly camber, it does a pretty good job at gripping, even at higher speeds. Throughout the middle of the board, it's a bit tougher when it has a bit softer tip and tails, but they're definitely not that loose. Like, you can land pretty heavy on the nose or the tail and it'll still hold up, it won't wash out too easily. Strong enough that it gives you pretty good pop, you don't have to try too hard and you can still get a decent ollie. And even like these, just landing off side hits, you can come down pretty fast or pretty hard and it'll always feel solid. Even if you're not landing on both feet evenly, there's no dodgy sort of loose feeling that you might get on like a rocker board. Being a true twin, there's no difference when you're riding it switch. It feels exactly the same. I have the tiniest little difference in the angles on my front and back foot, but they don't really make a difference. Nothing that you're really going to notice. So the nose and tail are soft enough to make it buttering pretty easy. It's actually a pretty good mix, being stable enough to handle stuff. Stable enough to handle fast riding, but still, if you're riding slow and mucking around, it's still pretty fun. According to Salomon, it has a 2-degree base edge from your feet out towards the nose and the tail of the board, and a larger 3-degree base edge between your feet. So the idea of that is that you don't have to give it such a big detune if you're going to go ride on rails. It's going to be smooth and not want to catch straight away. I still did round the edges between my feet a little bit, nothing crazy, but enough that I'm not going to worry if I hit a rail slightly heavy on one of the edges, and I haven't caught yet, so it seems to be okay, pretty good. So I probably should have washed out on that jump, landing pretty tail heavy, didn't have enough speed, but sort of gives you an idea that there is enough strength in the board to sort of save you a couple of times if you do something wrong. It doesn't just want to fold up and wash out. It's pretty quick board, edge to edge. Even though it is a park board, I'm going to ride just the one board all around the mountain anyway, so works fine in the trees. In deep snow, it's more work, but all park boards are going to be like that anyway. Doesn't take too much effort. You can put a bit of weight on your back foot and bring the nose up pretty easily if you can see that you've got a whole bunch of deep snow. For the money, I think it's probably the best that you're going to get for just around the just over $400 mark. There's a couple of other boards which I was looking at before I ended up buying this, like the Capita DOA or the Spring Break Twin, both of which cost a little bit more. I ended up just going with this because it's cheap and it does a good job. If you have any questions about the board, I can try and answer them in the comments below. Otherwise, you can read more about the board on my site, which will also show you wherever it's on sale, so you can find somewhere cheap to buy it.